Hi everyone. Today we are recording the next episode of our conversation with Partho on the idea where if you are a founder who has started or is planning to start a startup, but your intention and your somehow you feel that you wish to take a more deeper and a more conscious approach to startups, which is not the same as what we see in the mainstream. And what we discussed yesterday became up to a point that for such a person, one of the important thing is to live deeply. See? So if I were to break that down, Partho, as I had understood or I now understand, that at one level, one is living on the surface, which let's say the mind level, where I perceive the world with my mind and I process and I respond from there. That's one state. And but there is also a possibility to step back where you are able to see the mind as the data comes in and as it responds. In that state, you have taken one step back. So you're at one level you are staying deeper down your own self, and then you're able to sort of observe the movements of the mind, and they might sort of slow down or gradually reduce. So let's say I've understood that part. I've been doing that for a while. So what I remember from my experience, I could distinctly feel that my mind, which was accumulated habits and patterns of the past, had one way to respond to a situation.
Right.
But after a while, I started to feel that there is a possibility to respond in a more different way, which came from my deeper self. Right. And for a while, I was unsure because I had used my mind and it had done me fine. But then I started to use the deeper self and I experienced more refined, better work was happening, or I was feeling better. So I could see that the level of quality of work had gone up, right? So that establishes some trust. So on that journey, if there was an entrepreneur, if I was an entrepreneur who came across, so one of our most respected scriptures in the Sanatan tradition is Bhagavad Gita,
Right.
and it is specifically said as the best one for Karmayoga, which is how the work should happen. So let's say at that point, somehow I feel attracted or get interested to that. What guidance can I get from Gita to intensify my journey as an entrepreneur, as a founder? How can I take Gita and its learning? It seems to be old, but we say it's eternal, and bring it into my day-to-day role as a CEO, as a founder.
So yes, the Gita's principles are really timeless. They will apply to any human being in any society, in any context. So I get your point. It's someone who wants to run a business in a more conscious and a deeper way.
Yeah.
So when we say in a deeper way, the first thing we need to understand is this deeper way consists necessarily of a deeper understanding of the work. So when we say that we work superficially on the surface, it means that our understanding of the work, our intentions, our motivation for the work are surface, utilitarian. But when we begin to ponder over the very nature of work and the very nature of life, when we start relating work and life, and we want to go to an inner or a deeper perspective or understanding of life and work, then one can say that we are doing work from a deeper consciousness. That is what brings us to the Gita. So there are, I consider there are two, let's call them Mahavakyas of the Gita, two master formulas of the Gita in the context of work, Karma Yoga. And to my mind, if these two are understood and followed, practiced, one can go to the depths of Karma Yoga as far as the Gita is concerned. So the first there are two Mahavakyas. We won't go first, second. Two are related. And one leads to the other. The first is when Shri Krishna tells us the very nature of yoga. The very nature of yoga is equanimity. Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. yoga is known as samatha, equality. And the other is Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Karmasu Kaushalam, excellence or skills in works, in action. So yoga is equality, and yoga is excellence in execution, excellence in works, excellence in action, how we take it. So if we put the two together, we have first deeper understanding of work itself, work as a karma yoga.
So are we saying that yoga is the same as this whole process of going deeper and living deeply? Is that how?
Yes. What is yoga? Yoga is that which unites you in consciousness with truth itself, truth of being, the truth of becoming, the truth of existence, the truth itself. So whatever brings you to oneness with truth, whatever enables you to identify with truth and live that truth is yoga. So if we come to the Gita, or the Gita's understanding of work, then these are two very clear, very profound ideas. One is that work has to be excellent. And the other is yoga is equality. What is the relation between the two? So when is work not excellent? When the worker is distracted. Yes. When is work excellent? When the worker is concentrated, focused. Yeah. So if we take this concentration in works to its deepest level, then we come to almost a meditativeness in work, that focus in work, concentration in work becomes meditativeness. One becomes one with the work. The worker and the work become one. Which means what? Which means that I'm doing the work, but there is no personality in the work. There's no personal motivation. There is no personal preoccupation, no concern with the outcome of the work. There is no distraction in the work, no distraction of motivation. A huge thing. As running a motivation, yes, motivation itself is a distraction. I want my work to give me something in return. That can be a distraction. I want a particular outcome of my work, particular result of my work. That can be a distraction. I want to use work as a tool for personal gratification. That's a distraction. Or for personal gain. That too is a distraction. And these distractions prevent me from becoming one with my work. So if I were to remove all the layers of distraction, all that is personal in my work, personal motivation, personal gain, the concern with outcome.
And even somebody wants to do work to add value to humanity, or that also is
That also instantly. If you come to the Gita, then even that has to go. Yeah. Or even your ideas of doing good to humanity, helping humanity, philanthropic work, all that has to be clear out. Because the work becomes almost personal. Yet, I don't want you to understand that impersonal work has no personal involvement in it. It can be a very deep level of personal involvement. Yeah. But it's almost a transcendental involvement. So, that state of non-distraction in the work is the state of meditativeness. That is when karma work becomes dhyana, meditativeness. When karma becomes dhyana, your karma moves towards perfection. Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. High skills, excellence, perfection in works. That is what becomes possible now to the one who has become one with his or her work. And this karma has to come here. That in the first basis of the Gita's Karma. Question is how to reach that state of non-distraction. So that's where we come to the second Mahavakyas, the second form. That all distractions, all pulls and pushes are because we are torn in our being by what we call the dualities of existence. That which I prefer and that which I do not prefer, that which I want and that which I do not want, that which attracts me and that which repels me, that which is pleasant to me, that which is not pleasant to me. So the dualities of priya, apriya, we got it in Sanskrit, priya, apriya, of that which gives me sukh and that which gives me dukh, that which draws me towards it, raga, and which pushes me away from it, dvesha. These are the polarities, the dualities of existence that are always causing all kinds of disturbances in us. I want this, I don't want that. I want that outcome and I don't want this outcome. So when we practice equality of being, equality of mind, equality of emotions, even equality of actions, when we practice that kind of equality, that nothing moves me, I do the work, but I'm not moved by the outcome of the work. I do the work, but I'm not distracted by what I should do, what I should not, what is my preference, what is my fear, what do I want to avoid. All that is gone. So then I attain that state of perfect oneness, with complete concentration. That is meditative, that is dhyana. But then how do I eliminate the concept of what is good and what is not good from my work? What is favorable and what is not favorable? What is desirable and what is not desirable? How do I eliminate rag dvesh completely from my work? So that's where we come to the third deep principle of Karmayoga of the Gita, which is I remove the root of all inequality from my work. And what is this root? It's called karta abhav. It says doership. The belief, the conviction that I am doing this. I am the doer. I am doing this. I demand this result. I want this result. I want to control this outcome. All that. So the Gita says karta bhav is a childish state. It's immature. A deeper understanding of the universe is a deeper appreciation and understanding of reality will show you the obvious truth that nothing is in our hands. That this universe is so designed that there is a vast cosmic and perhaps even extra cosmic wisdom and intelligence at work. That you and I are ripples in this endless ocean of being, which in the language of the Gita is Shri Krishna, Narayan. And finally, whatever is being done, whatever we are doing, whatever is being done, is happening in that cosmic consciousness. We ourselves, what we call our personal consciousness, is happening in the cosmic consciousness. So when we begin to understand these things, when we begin to get a glimpse of these deeper spiritual realities of existence, we begin to see that this whole thought and idea of I am the doer and I am doing this, I want this out of it, becomes really childish. And we start feeling that, all this is being done through us. And then we start looking for that which is doing everything through us, that which transcends us, yet that which is within us as the immanent reality of our being and becoming. So when we begin to come closer to that, this transcendental yet immanent presence that is doing everything through us, that is thinking through us, understanding through us, speaking through us, acting through us, then this karta bhav is replaced steadily or rapidly by what the Gita calls nimitta bhav. The sense that I'm not the doer, I'm the instrument of cosmic consciousness and the instrument of cosmic doing. I'm the instrument of the Lord Himself, who's the master of the universe and master of my being. So all my, what I would call my personal motivation and action then gets consecrated. It's then given to the master of the universe, to the master of works. That's Shri Krishna. And the more completely I can do that, the more I get liberated from myself as the personal doer. And I get liberated into the nimitta bhav. And I begin to attain the yoga with the Supreme Being. I begin to attain the yoga with Shri Krishna through karma. So now the karma that has to become dhyan now becomes yoga. So that is the...
So what I'm again just correlating to my own experiences, as I sort of at whatever pace looked from a deeper space, so I could almost see myself happening as a personality which is living in the world and trying to accomplish some tasks. That was, that was on my own capacity, and this was the Samir personality which was trying to do its own capacity. But that staying deeper somehow brought a new capacity also, which could also, let's say somebody's offering to help, I'm struggling with something. And for a moment I feel, let them help. Why am I so stuck that I must do it? And suddenly I see that for that personality or whatever, the universe, it's much easier to do what I was struggling to do. So I begin to discern that this mode of action where I'm the one trying to do and I'm trying to do out of my own training seems to be actually much more sort of struggling or inefficient than the newer mode which is opening up through. That's how I sort of felt. And once I understood, then my most obvious response was just to sit back and just let things happen. But at least I did not struggle with the fact that within me there was much opposition. Actually, I didn't struggle with my surroundings also, because Nandini was with me and all of us sort of. But I think what I've seen, because I work with so many people, that let's say as an individual, that shift is happening in me. Going deeper, understanding some of these things. Now, for example, one of the things that happened to me was that I said, I don't feel that strong a need for to-do lists anymore. Like for my personal work, which I had to do, it would just come to me what to be done. Like now that created a little bit of a nervousness and panic in people around me, that how will this guy do work? So what I'm saying is, as my own style of working changes and I'm part of a team, and not all of them are going through that process. So the reconciliation of how will that happen? Let's say somebody give me a task where I have to take care of something. In the past, I was doing in a certain way, making notes, planning and setting up time. And, there was a certain process going on where people could see externally what action I'm taking. Now I'm not following that process anymore. It's something else. Some other system is working. So the reconciliation challenge, comes to many of us, which can manifest in family or work. I mean, both cases, people. So how does that, any insight into, as is I'm shifting and others are not shifting. How do I?
That I think is something all of us have to go through for a while. I call it the transitional phase. So external or externalized doing to this yogic way of doing things. And one has to, if the people you're talking about are very close to you, it lasts you. you have to share with them what is happening. And, ask them to bear with you.
Yeah.
And you often find that they do bear with you.
Yeah.
And you can make this transition smoothly.
Yeah.
And then finally, nothing succeeds like success.
Yeah.
So once your method, however weird that might seem to others, once your method starts working and becomes effective, then people start questioning. Not just do they start questioning. If they're very close to you, they feel inspired by your way of being and your way of doing. And maybe they come to you for guidance. Then how do you do it? Can we do it too? As it's so much more efficient or effective.
Yeah.
So one goes through those phases.
Yeah, because again, from experience, for me and many of our close friends, what I've seen is that shift. It takes time to happen, and you don't know yourself. But I think what works is that if the priority is to work from that deeper space or not work at all, sort of a clarity, then the whoever is with you, would get aligned with that, because the priority in the past was always had to be defined in external terms.
Yes.
That was the goal which one set in the front, and then everybody worked towards that. Let's say even a deadline to release a product. Now the priority is to sort of stay deep and work from that inspiration and see what happens. I think once that shift happens, within ourselves, there are always multiple personalities. One wants to go this way, one wants to go that way. So that it takes time to settle down with you.
Agreed.
But what you're saying is just, if you can trust in the process,
Yes.
if you can be aware of, at least what has helped us and many people is that to whatever degree we followed the deeper approach, if you were careful enough to observe that it actually led to progress all the time.
Yes.
Of a very different and a very strong kind. And if I've observed it in certain cases, then I can extrapolate it. And at some point, the trust might, become more stronger, and then you just go with that.
Yes.
And let it unfold. In my own case, at one level, we ended up actually exiting our work, because after 2 years of seeing if we can continue the journey within this ecosystem, we were finding it very hard to continue, because the startup ecosystem was very different. It's very strongly money driven, and we were very small as an entity. So the message which we got from somewhere deep was, maybe it's best to just step away and you don't and we thought now our work with the startup is over, but actually 6 years later, somehow
that was your transition from Morpheus to Supermorpheus.
Yes.
From a more externalized approach to
because when I look at if I were to go with the universal wisdom, right, universe or Shri Krishna, they obviously knew that I myself or our group was not ready to live in that manner. We had the aspiration, and because the work was with the startup ecosystem was itself in a certain state, right? So whenever there was in a higher space felt that okay, now these things can happen again, then 6 years later the journey started again, basically. So in the beginning, and one other thing I felt, and I know a lot of entrepreneurs feel, is that and as a founder, right, if you find a better way of doing things, you want to implement, roll it out. Let's say as simple as you found a new tool, productivity management tool for your company. So the idea is to roll it out fast and train everybody to do that, right? So sometimes this also feels like that you found the new hack to productivity, and you want to implement it everywhere. But because it is not a surface hack, it's a deeper thing. It doesn't happen fast. There's no way to roll out a deeper thing.
Everyone has to be attuned to.
Yes. So the only choice you have is to be patient, basically. And it rolls out at whatever pace it rolls out. Because when I look at it now, in 13 years later, when I was so impatient in the early time, because I took the same approach, let me roll it out now to all the Supermorpheus, or all the Morpheus members, and the tool was our retreats with them, but it just didn't work. And now it's beginning to happen, and now it feels like even 13 years were such a small time to, for this to begin. Actually, we are just beginning in the process. So also, I think, Partho, in a more practical manner, let's say I'm a CEO of the company or I'm a founder, I have certain responsibilities. Now, we need to do a new project. And for that, we need to build a team of people who will sort of lead that thing. So if I don't have, if all my external motivations are gone or become sort of less powerful in my life, so where does the motivation then come from? Like drive to movement. How does one decide what to do and then how to do, and that just a glimpse of that.
This is a very common question. Yes, it is. Everyone who tries the way of the Gita was answers this way sooner or later. So I feel the first thing is one doesn't completely give up motivation. One gives up only ego-driven external motivation, where your self-worth does not derive from something outside of yourself, but it is an expression of what you are and what you're becoming within yourself. First, to be aware of that, that you almost make a sankalp, a decision, a deep decision, not to let the outside world define you. You sort of take things back into yourself. That I will not be defined by the outside world and its values and standards. That I will be self-defined. I will be defined by what I aspire within myself and what I become in that aspiration. That would be the first important step. Then to realize with a growing understanding within yourself that nothing is in your hands. Everything is anyway being controlled, guided, determined in a very deep way, determined by the divine will and wisdom, by Shri Krishna's will and wisdom. And to begin to trust that more than your own understanding of things, I guess, or by what the outer world tells you to do. To trust the inner guidance, the inner wisdom, and to see Sri Krishna more and more in that inner guidance, to connect more and more with Sri Krishna within. Without that, the Karmayoga of the Gita is not possible. However clear one's intellectual understanding of the Gita may be, if you're not connecting to Krishna within, the yoga of the Gita is not possible. The Karmayoga of the Gita is not possible. You have to, sooner or later, start connecting in a real way. First in a psychological way and then in a psychic spiritual way to Sri Krishna. Then you begin to receive guidance from Sri Krishna. And again, you must have a mind sufficiently quiet to be able to listen to that guidance that starts coming from Sri Krishna. And enough surrender in your being to start following that guidance that comes from Sri Krishna without questioning it. And the more you can listen to the guidance from within and the more you can follow it, the more it grows in intensity and clarity in you. And that is how your yoga really progresses.
I think I caught, maybe I caught, I'll ask you that. I think we believe in the humanity, especially the entrepreneurs are by default like Rajasic in nature. They have their own source of personal motivation.
Yes.
And there is somehow there is an understanding that if there is no personal motivation, no action will happen. This is the only source of action.
Yeah. So this personal motivation has to be replaced by consecration within. That I live and I work for Sri Krishna alone. Unless that manobhav comes, unless that sense and feeling comes to you that I am living and working for Sri Krishna alone, that He is the source of my being. He is the Lord of my works. It is for Him that I work. It is for Him that I attain whatever I attain. It is even in terms of, if I earn money, it's for Him that I earn the money. If I'm doing productive work, it's for Him that I do the productive. So everything in yourself becomes Sri Krishna's. Yeah. So thing of I and the ego way of being is replaced by your inner consecration to Sri Krishna. More and more, Sri Krishna grows in your consciousness. The ego diminishes and Sri Krishna grows. So then you find that you don't need an external motivation at all. And finally, you don't need any motivation. It's Sri Krishna who works through you. What motivation do you need?
I think this experience at least came to me when I talked about being quieter. So now I'm quieter and I'm able to see that some action, it seems like to originate from the mind, but there are other waves which come from others. So the cosmos itself has its own flow, which even the mind is quiet can go on working. Yes. So that, and even the mind's action is actually not its own, originates over there. It's actually coming from somewhere else.
This you can experience only when your mind is growing. That and the mind will grow quieter only when you practice equanimity more deeply and sincerely. So, see, it's all related. Yes. Equality will lead to a quieter mind. A quieter mind will lead to more equality. And a mind that's growing more and more equal and quieter will begin to discern that which is behind this whole world's play. And you'll begin to sense, more and more you'll begin to sense the psychic or the divine within, Sri Krishna within. And increasingly you'll be able to bring that Sri Krishna within to the world with the work. And integrate the world and the work more and more clearly with Sri Krishna within. And the more excellence and perfection you will attain in your work.
And what we are referring to is Shri Krishna is not the human form, just in the historical form. It's the existence and the intelligence which it's the whole existence and the intelligence which is
So the first Sri Krishna that I refer to, and that's the elegant way of expressing it, is the Sri Krishna within. The psychic being, the Chaitya Purush within ourselves is Sri Krishna. That's our first approach to Sri Krishna. That's also our first realization of Sri Krishna. As we go quieter and deeper within, the more we realize that it's not our psychological being that's there inside, but something that transcends the psychological being, transcends our thoughts and our will, even our understanding. So what is that something which is there within us, clear, distinct, yet is not our thoughts or our will or our understanding? So that is our first discovery of Sri Krishna. And it is to that Sri Krishna within, to our own Chaitya Purusha within, to the Ishwar seated within, that we have to offer all our life and all our works. And then the presence of Sri Krishna grows outside as well. We begin to see Sri Krishna, we begin to feel, sense his presence in the outside world as well, in other people, in events, in just about everything. As this inner sense of Sri Krishna grows, the outer experience of Sri Krishna too grows.
No, I get it. So and it seems like this whole thing is just at the line of, as you keep going, living deeper and deeper and quieter, this truth reveals.
There's no layer by layers. There's no this going within this nivritti, this state of dhyan that you have to get everything in. That is indispensable.
And also it seems to me that once you get it, it's easy to just stay in that state and just let everything.
Yes, once you get it, then it becomes that much
easier, effortless. This whole thing is
unfold. Then its own rasa grows in you. Once you get that inner presence, we get to sense the inner presence. It has its own rasa, which is very powerful, very compelling.
Yep. Good. So I think, Partho, we've really come quite deep into the rasa. I think we can take a pause for this episode and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.